His luggage has arrived with more in the car.
What?
Yes, about 4 more. I can only stay a couple of days.
No, absolutely not. Take them back to the car. Take them back to the car. Give me that. Gobert, take them away. He has been called back to the city.
Oh, your poor brother. I'm so sorry.
No,
Your poor brother.
no, this isn't my brother.
Oui, this is your brother.
No,
So sorry.
no. No, it's not my brother. He's my brother. No, he's not my brother.
I'm so sorry. Oui, this is your brother.
No, it's not my brother. Take them away.
I have not been called back to town.
Yes, you have. Your duty as a gentleman calls you back.
My duty as a gentleman has never interfered with my pleasures.
I can believe that.
Well, Cecily is a sweetie.
You are not to talk of her like that. I don't like it.
And I don't like the way you're dressed. You look ridiculous. You should change. It's grotesque to be in mourning for a man who's staying with you as a guest.
You're not staying here as a guest or anything else. You need to leave by the 4:25 train.
I can't possibly leave while you're in mourning. If I were in mourning, you'd stay with me.
If I change my clothes, will you leave?
If you make it fast. I've never seen anybody take so long to dress with such little effect.
It's better than always being overdressed as you are.
If I am occasionally overdressed, I make up for it by being overly educated and charming.
Your vanity is ridiculous, your conduct offensive, and your presence in my garden is an outrage. However, you will catch the 4:25, and I trust you'll have a pleasant journey back to the city. This bun-burying, as you call it, has not been a success.
I think it's been a great success. I've met a wonderful girl, and that is everything.
Oh, Ernest. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's called for the car.
Is he going to take you for a nice drive?
No, he's gonna send me away.
Then we have to part?
I'm afraid so. It's a very painful parting.
It is always painful to part from someone you have known for just a brief space of time. The absence of old friends one can endure. But even a momentary separation from someone you have just been introduced is almost unbearable.
The car is at the door, monsieur.
It can wait. For 5 minutes.
Pardon?
5 minutes? Gobert. Your jacket.
I hope, Cecily, I don't offend you if I state quite frankly and openly that you are a vision of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you don't mind, I'm going to copy your remarks into my journal.
You keep a journal. May I?
No. It is a young girl's private records of her thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication at a later date. When it is in book form, I hope you order a copy. But please don't stop. I've reached absolute perfection. You may go on.
Cecily, ever since I've looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I knew I could one day care for you wildly, passionately, hopelessly.
I don't think you should tell me that you would care for me. Wildly, passionately, hopelessly? Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense.
The car is still waiting, monsieur.
Tell it to come around next week at the same time.
Pourquoi?
Go away.
Hey.
He's from Paris. France. Uncle Jack would be very annoyed if he found out you were staying till next week at the same time.
I don't care about Jack. I don't care about anything in the whole world, but I may have to leave soon. Cecily, I know this is forward of me, but after meeting you, even after such a short period of time, I feel I could one day ask you, would want to ask you, perhaps, to marry me. I'm sorry, that was...
Of course, you silly boy. Considering we have been engaged for the last 3 months.
Engaged?
Yes. It'll be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Ever since Uncle Jack said he had a wicked younger brother, you've been the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And a man who's always talked about is very attractive. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you.
But when was our engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last. Worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or another. And after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you by this dear fountain here. And the next day I bought this ring in your name.
Did I give you this? Wow, that's very nice, isn't it?
Yes, you have wonderfully good taste. It's the excuse I've always given you for leading such a bad life. And this is the secret place in which I keep all your dear letters.
My letters? Cecily, I've never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well that I was forced to write your letters for you. I wrote 3 times a week and sometimes more often.
Let me read them.
No, I couldn't possibly. That would make you far too conceited. The 3 you wrote me after I broke off the engagement are so beautiful and so badly spelled that I can hardly read them without crying a little.
Our engagement was broken off?
Of course it was. On the 22nd of March. Today I broke off my engagement with Ernest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather continues to be delightful.
But why was our engagement broken off? What did I do? I'm very hurt to hear you broke it off, especially when the weather was so delightful.
It would have hardly been a serious engagement if I hadn't broken off at least once. Besides, I forgave you before the week was out.
You are a perfect girl, Cecily.
You dear romantic boy. I hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
Yes, of course, with a little help from the girl at the mall. You'll never break off our engagement again?
I don't think I could break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, there is the matter of your name. You mustn't laugh at me, but it has always been a dream of mine to love someone of the name of Ernest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. I pity any girl whose husband is not named Ernest.
You don't mean to say you couldn't love me if I had some other name?
Another name?
Yes, for instance, Albert.
But I don't like the name of Albert.
I don't see why you should object to the name of Albert. It's a very high-class name. Half the people in bankruptcy court are named Albert. And if my name was Albert, wouldn't you still love me?
I might respect you. I might admire your character. But I wouldn't give you my undivided attention.
Your pastor here, he's very experienced in all the rites and ceremonies of the church?
Reverend Chasuble is a most learned man. He's not written a single book, but he has been on talk radio, so you can imagine how much he knows.
I must go see him at once on a very important christening. Business. I'll only be a half an hour.
Considering we've been engaged since February the 14th, and I've only met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard for you to leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Could you make it 20 minutes?
Of course.